So these federal worker layoffs and firings have taken the news by storm here lately. So I thought I'd share one, maybe two, maybe I'll. I'm seeing there's a couple other updates here, but we'll see at the end of the video. Yeah, I just wanted to share an update or so on what's going on out there. I hate to see it, man. I'm very, very, very uncomfortable with how things are going. We got to give it time though, but we'll see. All right, let's watch this. Y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, it's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.
Pentagon and the IRS could possibly be the next federal agencies to see personnel cuts as President Trump and Elon Musk's Doge works to reshape the federal government. Tens of thousands of workers have already been let go from the Department of Health, Homeland Security, and now the Energy Department. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien with the latest on President Trump and Elon Musk's efforts to downsize the federal government.
President Trump pushing ahead with sweeping plans to trim the size of the federal government, firing thousands of workers and impacting key agencies.
We want to downsize government, but make it better. Run it better.
ABC News has learned of 15,000 employees at the IRS now identified for possible termination as early as next week. According to a person familiar with the effort, the employees are on probationary status, meaning they typically started work within the last 2 years and do not have jobs directly related to processing tax filings. The IRS has not responded to ABC's request for comment. These sweeping cuts first targeting roughly 200,000 probationary federal employees across the government. At least 2,000 workers fired from the Department of Energy, more than 1,000 from Veterans Affairs, and another 1,000 from the Centers for Disease Control, including half of the agency's doctors and scientists who respond to outbreaks at home and abroad. ABC News obtaining this audio from a meeting at the Office of Personnel Management. Some employees told to gather their belongings and exit the premises.
You will receive your termination notice via email shortly, and it will include the reason for termination. As a result, your employment with the Office of Personnel Management will end today.
Federal employees nationwide let go. Carly Arado worked for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Greensboro, Georgia, helping farmers get federal funding. She received an email Friday night saying her position was terminated.
They say they care so much about their farmers, and they're taking away the people that help them the most.
And now the Pentagon, which employs 3.4 million troops and civilians, now bracing for possible cuts too. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
Interesting, right? I will say this, right, and I'm going to say this very carefully so that people don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Right? I 100% believe that change needs to happen in these federal agencies. I repeat, I do not believe that firing and laying off people is the change that's needed. If you've ever worked for, federal, state, government, or not worked for, if you've ever been a customer of or been in a situation when you needed to communicate with federal, state, city, county, you will know, or you should agree with me when I say that there are changes that needs to happen. More so along the lines of handling the people's situation, understanding the differences in people's situation when you're dealing with the public. It's not my experience with many of these agencies are that they always have a one size fits all approach, and everybody's situation is different. And anytime I am trying to or need to contact a government entity like the IRS, or when I was unemployed, or when I got laid off years ago and needed to go through the unemployment agency. That was a disaster. That was a disaster, and it wasn't because they had too many people in the agency. It was never that. Actually, if anything, there wasn't enough people, right, trying to get in contact with the unemployment office. Um, but the process. The processes in these agencies need to be heavily uh, reviewed and restructured and rolled out in a completely different manner. If they want efficiency in these agencies, the problem is they don't. There's no efficiency. There's no efficiency in these agencies. And again, I can't imagine someone who's been through, like, just for example, the unemployment office. Like I said, if you've dealt with the unemployment agency at any time in your life, you will have no choice but to agree with me when I say that there needs to be change. If you've dealt with the IRS, if you had problems with your taxes, if any situation like that, you will agree. 8, 10, 12, 24-hour phone holds, and I'm not exaggerating, right? The runaround, no clear direction as to where you could go to get your problem resolved, getting wrong information, wrong direction. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's absolutely terrible. When I was uh, going through unemployment, they had a program where uh, if you went to their 2 week job training session, you were able to get your unemployment extended for, I think it was another 6 months, right? And so that was offered by the unemployment office. You had to sign up. You had to sign up in time, because if the class filled up, then you couldn't do it. Uh, and that was a disaster for so many people, because they did not communicate what you actually had to do in order to get the extension, right? And so, long story short, how it was set up was basically you had to show up. You had to show up every day, of course, fair enough. But they didn't give any information on what you had to do until like the second to last day of being there. So on like the 12th, the 11th or 12th day of going through the program, then they tell you, oh, you have to go to one of these approved schools and take one of these approved classes, which didn't fit a lot of people's, schedule, whether it be at home. There was one guy, the only class he could take was like 300 miles away. And so what ended up happening was like half the class just wasted 2 weeks that they could have been otherwise interviewing for jobs, looking for work, going to other programs. And it was an absolute, I mean, I thought I was going to see someone get knocked off in that office, just simply because, like, and I, to this day, I could never understand who would set it up like that. You just feel tricked. Like, what was if that was the only option for you to get an extension, and that option did not fit your plans, that should, I mean, I don't understand what the purpose of withholding that information, and they were real secretive about it the whole time. I don't understand what the point of withholding that information to the last, almost the last day, like how that could benefit anybody. It was a recipe for disaster. And like I said, half the class, I got lucky. I actually had to go before a judge in order to get the extension granted, because I was already in school, and I just needed a program or I needed the judge to look at my program and deem it acceptable, even though that program was not on their list. But it was an absolute disaster. Like, people, like I said, if you've been through any of these government agencies, you will see like the way that they're run are just absolutely insane. And I would vote to restructure all of the government and sectors, but that does not mean lay off people. I don't even understand where the idea of workforce reduction, like how that could help with efficiency outside of the dollar. So I guess that's all that they're focused on, which doesn't surprise me when it comes to Elon and Trump, right? Yeah, it's going to be more efficient from a economic standpoint, from a dollar standpoint, but it's not. But it's going to be even worse when it comes to actually getting people the help that they need. I absolutely disagree with that. So this is going to be, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is going to be a rough transition. I don't see how any of this is going to work. Obviously, they know something more than we do. The best we could do is sit back and watch, hope that we aren't affected, or any person that we know is not affected. And those who are affected, we hope that you could rebound sooner rather than later. Because I know, like, people working in these sectors are not used to the uncertainty that comes with jobs that are in the private sector. Like for me, my background is in the aerospace industry, and there is you want to talk about uncertainty. You're never certain when you're working in the aerospace industry. There's layoffs every year, every quarter, every time of the year. There's layoffs going on, right? So a lot of the people that that I've known and throughout my career had always asked, basically like they're kind of shocked when I would tell them about layoffs that were happening at companies that I was at, and they couldn't really understand it, couldn't really fathom it, because I know a lot of people that work in the public sector, and they're not used to they're used to furloughs and stuff, but they're not used to having the possibility of getting one of these emails that tells them your job is gone. So it's really new for a lot of people. That's what a lot of the people on the outside don't understand as well. It's like really new. Like, you got people that have been there for 10, 15, 20, 30 plus years who they couldn't even fathom a layoff happening, because it doesn't happen in these sectors. So this will be a wild transition, a wild change for the country. I hope it levels out before the end of the year, but we'll see. I feel like it's just been chaos after chaos. But either way, y'all let me know what y'all think, all right? Y'all let me know what y'all think. It's Ricky Rich for Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.